welcome to a recap of my Glowfest Advanced Fan Weaves Workshop, Glowfest 2024. My name is Lucinda, or Lucy, or Lucy Fire, whatever you want. And yeah, I'm just going to break down some of the moves that we did. So everything was in an open grip, and we quite sensibly started with just one fan so that we can explore all the different weaves that we can do in an open grip. We remember an open grip means that my hand can be open and the fan won't go anywhere. If it was a closed grip and I was to open my grip, it would drop. So that's how we know we're not in open grip. We are in open grip because my palm is open, I'm not hanging on at all, and it just balances the handle on my fan. So open grip, open hand. I wrap my hand around this, and because this was an advanced workshop, I won't be breaking down how to do hip reels. If you're watching this video and you're like, oh, I wish I could do all these things, please feel free to message me. I have some tutorials bouncing around somewhere on hip reels, somewhere on my Instagram, I'm pretty sure. But as this was an advanced workshop, I'm just going to move on to the juicier bits that we did. So we looked at just recapping open grip, thumb leading, hip weaves or hip reels, and then doing that in reverse. So going with the pinky. Again, somewhere on my Instagram, this is broken down. Then we looked at non-native open grip thumb leading weaves, where we start from what's often referred to as your native side, where the prop is living, and then your non-native side, where the prop is not from. Okay, not that arm, that one. So I'm going across to my non-native side, and I'm doing this via a rainbow position. Rainbow! Then I'm starting to scoop, and I scoop up my bum to my shoulder, and I drop it down and do a little smiley face. Smiley face. Then I'm going to do a hip reel, boom, boom, and begin that process again. Rainbow over the top, till I get to my bum, scoop all the way up to my shoulder, and then smiley face back to the other side. I'm going to show you that from behind. So I'm doing my rainbow, getting to my bum, scooping up to my shoulder, and then doing a smiley face back to the other side. Boom. And then adding on a hip reel. It helps us with moves later on if we get used to going hip reel, non-native. We looked at that in both hands. I'm not going to break down both hands, but definitely pop it over on the other side and have a look at the thumb leading on the other side. And then we also looked at that in leading with our pinky. So, boom, we want to think about this movement and how this is all going to tie in later. So when it's leading with the pinky, we do the smiley face first. So smiley face at the bottom. Then we're going from shoulder down to the hip, and then we're coming out with the rainbow. So I've swapped hands, so you can learn one on one hand and one on the other hand. That's going to help with the progression later on. And we're thinking pinky, go scoopy scoop, shoulder to hip, rainbow out. Awesome. Smiley face, shoulder to hip, rainbow out. We also had a look at doing open grip weaves at the shoulders. So if it's on the native side, let's go with thumb leading. If it's on the native side, we can think of this tracer move, which you may already be aware of. That is basically just a shoulder weave, open grip shoulder weave, with an extension. The extension being this part, and then the shoulder weave being this part. So we're just going to cut out the long arm. We're going to make the arm short, and then weave at the shoulder. How that works is we take it behind the ponytail, or where a ponytail might be. It's hanging, you can always kind of hang it on your thumb here when it's behind you. Then we use momentum, we wouldn't normally stop at that point, but if you get a bit stuck, you can pendulum it so that your thumb wick comes up and out. Boom, and out. We want to try and keep it quite tight, but if at the beginning you're doing more of a like extended movement, and then you're slowly thinking about how you can make it tighter, that's fine too. You'll notice that if I come nice and close, the grip adjusts quite a lot. So I'm here, it's more on my thumb. Then I'm here and it's more in a pinch, like I'm pinching it from the side. I'm still pinching it and then I'm rolling it back into my fingers at that very last moment. So it's in my fingers. As it gets behind where your ponytail might be, it's more going onto my thumb. And then re-grabbing in this pinch grip to pull it through. Pull it through. The non-native shoulder is pretty much the exact same as the hip that we did before. We do that rainbow across, the scoop up, and the smiley face under. So the only difference is it's happening above your shoulder instead of below your shoulder. Boom, awesome. We also did that pinky leading. So pinky leading on the same side, it's like doing this motion, which you may or may not be familiar with, but it's just the reverse of the one that we were talking about on this side. Your pinky wick leads up your body. You want to think about like throwing it almost over your shoulder so it gets behind your back, and then you can hang it on your fingers if you like. We're then going to give it a good squeeze and lift it up. Think about pushing to the sky and then unraveling. So you might start with more of this extension, and then eventually I want the elbow to stay bent, and the movement's going to happen entirely with a bent elbow, or in this realm. So as opposed to taking up the full space, it's just going to happen. Boom. Like all weaves in all of the videos that I've posted and all of the tutorials, momentum is your friend. You want to really give energy to the leading wick. In this case, it's the pinky. Here's my pinky, here's my wick. Give it that down scoop so that it gets behind you. If you get stuck behind you, you can do a pendulum to really get energy up and back over. The looser your grip is, the easier this will be. I would say this is one of the harder movements of all of the weaves, the pinky weave. It's a bit awkward. The non-native is the same as the hip. So we start with the smiley face, we go top to bottom, and we end with the rainbow. So again, you can just rewatch the tutorial for the hip and then apply it to above the shoulder. Awesome. Boom. This one. And just a quick note on the thumb side, on the thumb leading side, I did say that your thumb sneaks in, but as you're pulling it out, you can really emphasize driving the movement with this little wedge between your thumb and pointer finger. It drops onto your thumb at the back, and then that little wedge kind of helps unravel it. And it literally becomes this motion where you're basically just weaving on your thumb. If you're familiar with this movement, boom, 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 or even if you're not, you can do this with me, fold, fold, unravel. It's really similar. See how it's now, fingers are in the front, my thumb is through. It's similar to that idea of using this little nook to drive the fan around that circular motion. So once we looked at all of the different weaves in the front of our body, we also looked at weaves behind our body. So these are called behind the back weaves. Happen behind the back, named quite explanatory. So thumb leading with this hand, we're going to do a normal hip reel. Then you're going to slide the fan all the way across to your non-native hip. You're going to let that wick drop down in front of your body. Grab hold of your thumb wick. So my thumb is here. My thumb wick is here. You might even tie something on that side so that you can recognize that's your thumb wick. Then you're going to pull it up. This is where it gets really awkward with the hand, and you've just got to trust that it's going to work. There's going to be a point round about here where your hand's going to be like, no, I can't do that. I promise you can. We go side, top, side. This is the point where it feels really gross and awkward. The fan drops down, I'll show you this from behind, and scoops back up and unravels. So we've got to our back, sliding across, and grabbing my thumb wick. I'm pulling it up my body. Everything feels okay. I get to about here. Everything is starting to not feel okay. My hand is starting to feel like I cannot go any further. You're going to continue, let the fan drop down, loosen the grip a little bit. We can hang out here, and then squeeze so that we get back into this position. Again, you're going to go behind your back, slide, grab the thumb wick, pull it up, around, all the way down, keep hold of it or keep some kind of guidance to end up back at this point. Boom. Slide, up, and back. If you have momentum, it's going to make this so much easier. We want to try and continuously go from here behind us to the drop down, down, and up. Remember, all weaves, the downbeat is going to help you get through the motion. If you do need more help with breaking that down, please let me know. But otherwise, I'm going to leave it there. Once we had looked at the behind the back weave with the thumb, and remember you apply all the same things to the other hand. So it comes in behind, slides across, we grab hold of the thumb wick, we lead it out, down, side, and up, and exit. So all of the things I explained before apply to the other hand so that you can do it on both hands. Then, when we want to put two fans together, we looked at this funky meltdown variation, which is kind of like a fan variation of a thumb leading opposite direction meltdown. You'll notice that meltdowns are a little bit different with fans, and that's just because of the 2D nature of fans. There's no kind of 360 swivel like what a poi has. So they're a little bit different. Feel free to message me, we can nerd out on all the terminology. So assuming that we're good with our thumb leading reel, our thumb leading hip reel, open grip, the way that we go from this into this is by combining all of the movements, or not all of, but a few of the movements that we've learned today in this little tutorial. So what's going to happen is your purple fan is going to go behind your back and hang out and wait, and your grey fan is going to come towards more your belly button. Now it can be really helpful to, instead of do the motion at your side, train a little bit before doing this motion at your belly button, because this means that when you come to cross the sides of your body, you're already halfway there, as opposed to needing to slide and cross and come back. So training it at your belly button. Once we've set up in this position, you're going to slide both hands to their non-native hip. One is behind, one is in front. My grey fan is then going to continue and do that scoop that we've learned before. Scoop. Just one or two, you can just have a feel of what that's like. My purple fan is then going to continue to do the behind the back scoop. And notice how I'm really turning my body to make room for it. Boom. And then turning back. Now, because of the nature of this movement, I can do both at the same time. I can turn my body and still do my thumb leading non-native in front. I would really recommend staying in this cross position and just doing one and then the other for a while. Make sure you stretch, make sure you warm up, make sure you cool down and do all the things to look after your body, because it is quite uncomfortable on the wrists and the shoulders, but you will get pretty gripped in your hands from grip strength. But yeah, I really recommend just doing one and then the other. When you feel comfortable, you can try doing two at the same time. So two drop down, and we want to think scoop to the back. So they both have this down, around, and up. They're both doing a weave. To swap sides, you do a hip reel. Then you apply all of the same methods to the other side. I would really recommend just getting comfortable with one side first. Once you're really comfortable with one side, then attempting the other side. We slide to the non-native hip, one's at the back, one's at the front. First we play around just with one fan, just with one fan, just with one fan, and then when that's really comfortable, we play around with two fans. Boom. And then once all of those pieces are really comfortable, we can do the whole thing. So we start with a hip reel to set up. We go across the body, one at the front, one at the back. We do a hip reel to swap sides across the body, one at the front, one at the back. So you can see why it's really important to just have that first move down, and then that second or third, because they're happening at the same time, in front non-native and behind non-native, down. You want to have those moves super, super locked in before you try and put them all together. I know that it's so tempting to just like power through so that you can get those movements and feel like, you know, yeah, I nailed this really advanced move. But you're going to get there so much quicker and also so much cleaner if you really spend the time drilling just one hand. It's a lot easier, making them just absolutely automated in your body so that your brain does not have to think about it. Then when you pick up two and start trying to do two together, your brain is a little bit more relaxed. It's still going to be hard, but it's not going to be as hard if you're trying to think about the pathway of the movement as well as doing two fans at the same time. So good luck. We did have a look at two other weaves, so I'm just going to break them down quickly, but that was really the nugget of the lesson, the one that I really hope that people will kind of get a good concept for. And also I'm seeing that this video is close to approaching 20 minutes. I didn't want it to be too long. So I'm just going to have a quick look at the other movements we looked at. And yeah, and then we'll go from there. Cool. And then that will be a wrap. So the other thing that I really encourage people to do is hybrids, where you're doing one of the weaves in one hand and either another weave or a completely different move in the other hand. So I'm just going to swap. So for example, in my purple fan, I'm just going to do a basic thumb open grip weave and a fold. And we can see how nice that looks because we have the different height and the different kind of motion. We could also pair it with a thumb weave. Again, different look, different height, really nice. So I'm just doing that thumb weave on my back and the hip reel on the front. A lot of people ask me about this move. It's one of my favorite moves. I probably do it a bajillion times, where I come around It's very pretty. What I'm doing there is I'm pairing a behind the back weave with a swoop around and unravel. So what I'm doing there is I'm taking it as far across my body as I can. As it comes behind my head, I'm looping it onto my thumb, and then I'm unraveling. I time them so that one is going across from the other. So we're going to the non-native side at the same time, but that's happening behind my back. So I go scoop in, and then both unravel at the same time. I'm counting the downbeats, and I'm adding an extra one to my purple fan for the symmetry. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that last one I just do a spin so that I can get out. You could go back in and then continue. You can do whatever you like. Some basic ones that also look really good is just doing a reach across and a fold. Like basic, I mean just easier than that one I showed before, but still, you know, not a beginner move. And yeah, you can play with really anything you want. Like you can do a spin. You could do a spin. You could do a spin. You could do, you know, like maybe a twist, or something like that. You can really play around with what moves you do in the hybrid of linking moves together. I know people were really interested in the skirt, so what I'm going to do is, if enough people message me, I will make an entire tutorial just for the skirt, which is this one, boom, 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 and then subsequently the addition to that will be going into the full fountain, boom, 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 boom. Awesome. So I'm pretty sure that is everything that I did in the advanced workshop. I could be missing stuff. And this is also only happening on Tuesday. So I have just got home and then gone and done a day of working and unpacking. So if anything doesn't make sense, please feel free to ask questions. I love teaching fans. It's, yeah, one of my absolute favorite things to do. So ask me as many questions as you like. Good luck with the movements, and well done for making it through a 20-minute video.